right, so just so you have some homework help, I'm going to go over Unit 1 tonight. I will get Unit 2 up tomorrow, and this is the intro, and then it will be the guided practice in case you are struggling on any of the homework for this week. So number 1 says a place value chart for decimal numbers is shown, and then it has for A through E, these numbers right here, write an equivalent, which means equal, decimal number in the corresponding row on the chart. So I have 500. So in the hundreds spot, I need a 5. 500, and then a 2 in the tens place, because that 2 is in the tens place. 523. So 523 took care of all of these. And then 2 in the tenths place. 8 in the hundredths place, and 4 in the thousandths place. So I would read that number, 523 and 284 thousandths. Okay, I'm going to mark that off because I did it. 3 and. Well, here's the thing. I know the and is my decimal, so I know that 3 goes right before the decimal. 3 and. 72, so 72, the 2 has to land in the hundredths place, so 72 hundredths. Okay, I'm done with that one. So C, 2 times 100, so I have 2 in the hundredths. 1 times 10, that's 1 in the tenths. 6 times 1 is 6. 4 times a tenth would be 4 tenths. 5 times a hundredth would be 5 hundredths. 9 times a thousandth would be 9 in a thousandth. So I read that number 216 and 459 thousandths. Mark that off because I did it. 8 times 1. Well, what is 8 times 1? 8 times 1 is 8. So that's going to go in the 1 spot. 5 times 5 times a tenth. So 5 in the tenths. 8 times a hundredth. 3 times a thousandth. So I read that number 8 and 583 thousandths. So I have 4 times 100. That would give me 4 hundredths. 7 times a tenth. Guys, this is not 10. This is 1/10. So this 7 is way over here in the tenths place, that fraction. These are fractions over here. 8 times a hundredth. 6 times a thousandth. What am I going to do right here? When I don't have a number, I can only plug in zeros. So 400 and 786 thousandths. Okay, so we're talking about that place value and equivalent decimals there. Expanded form. Number 2, a wooden board is 1 and 848 thousandths meters long. What is the value of the 4 in the number? Well, what place value is that in? I could come out here to the side. I know that this is my ones. These are my tenths. So this would be my hundredths. So the decimal is in the 0.01 or hundredths. And again, what is the value, place value of it? So really it's 4 hundredths. The value of it is 4 hundredths. So 4 in the hundredths place. If it asks you for what place value it's in the hundredths. Okay. Number 3, the water level of Lake Cherokee dropped 2 and 918 thousandths feet. Fill in the blanks to show the expanded notation for 2.918. So I have 2 times 1. That takes care of the 2. It's in the ones place. 9 times a tenth. Then I'm going to have what? 1 times a hundredth. And 8 times a thousandth. That's a 1 right there on that line. Okay. Use decimals to express 0.719 in expanded notation. Okay, so expanded notation has multiplication in it. So I have 7 times, what place value is that 7 in? A tenth. Plus 1 times 100th. Plus 9 times 1,000th. So that expanded notation. All right, let's look at question 5. Milton and Cliff each created a video presentation for a social studies project. The length of Milton's video is 4.739 minutes, or 4 and 739 thousandths minutes. The length of Cliff's video is 4.039, which is 4 and 39 thousandths of a minute. Fill in the blanks to express the length of each video in expanded notation. So Milton, I have a 4 in the ones place. I have a 7 in the tenths place. I have a 3 in the hundredths place. And I have a 9 in the thousandths place. For Cliff's video, we have a 4 in the ones place. We have nothing in the tenth, so we're skipping that tenth. We have a 3 in the hundredths and a 9 in the thousandths. Why is the expanded notation shorter for Cliff's video? Well, because when we have that 0 right there, we skip the zeros. So skip zeros. That's why it's shorter. Okay, because anything times 0 would be 0. All right, let's flip that over. I'm going to work a couple more questions for you. This is your guided practice. It helps you with your independent and your assessment piece, okay? John ran for 16.52 minutes and Jerry ran for 16.25 minutes. Which is true statement about the 5 in each of these? Well, 16.52. Let's figure out where this 5 is. This 5 is in the tenths place. Here I have 16.25, and this 5 is in the hundredths place. So I'm representing those 5s. Okay. The 5 in John's number has a value of 0.5. Well, whose number is this? This is John, and this is Jerry. The 5 in John's number has a value of 0.5. That is true. And the 5 in Jerry's number has a value of 0.05. So let's put a maybe there. The 5 has the same value in both numbers. Well, no, we already said this 5 is in the tenths and this 5 is in the hundredths. So that is false. Okay. The 5 has a value of 50 in John's number. Well, no, because if it was 50, it would be over in the tenths place. So 5 50s. 5 $10 bills would be 50. So no, we don't have anyone in the 50s place value, or that has a value of 50. The 5 in John's number has a value of 5 hundredths. Well, no, that would be Jerry's is 5 hundredths. And then John's is 5 tenths. So these are correct, but they're not the right person. John's is this right here, and Jerry's is the hundredths. So that one is false. Okay. All right, so my answer should be A right there. So just reading through and using those strategies. Question 2. I'm going to rip this problem because I want you to see that we can rip any problem. Marnie scored 546 and 234 thousandths points on a video game, which does not show this number. So which is false? Because if I'm not showing the number, it's not true. So which is false? Important information, well, that number right there. So I'm going to write that number. 546 and, that's my and, 234 thousandths, and it ends in the thousandths place. Okay? So you could have written that number back in words, but eventually you're going to need to write it in your place values so that you know you have a 5 in the 100, 46, then the 234, and that 4 lands in the thousandths place. Okay? So, which is not true? Well, 546.234. This one is true, and I just wrote it up there. So what I'm going to do to solve this, I'm going to use place value. Okay, so I already know that this one's true, and I'm looking for false. Well, 500, yes. Plus 40, yes. Plus 6, yes. Plus 2 in the tenths, yep. Plus 3 in the hundredths, yep. Plus 4 in the thousandths, yes. So this one's true. Okay, let's see where we can look at G. 5 times 100, yep, 5 in the 100. And again, ones, tens, hundreds, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. I could label those down so that I know what I'm looking at. So 5 times 100 is 500, yes. See if that stays better. 4 times a 10, yes, because 4 is in the tens. 6 times 1, so far, yes, yes, yes. 2 times a tenth, yes. 3 times 100, yes. 4 times 1,000, yes. So I think this one's true as well. Let's check and see if we can find the mistake there. Pause, I have a kid calling. Believe it or not, it was Elizabeth wanting money. I know, strange. All right, so here we go. Let's find the mistake in this one just so we can verify that it is false. 5 times 100, yes, 5 is in the hundredths. 4 is in the tenths, so 4 times 10, yes. 6 is in the ones, so 6 times 1, yes. 2 times 1. Do we have 2 in the ones place and a 6 in the ones place? No. If you ever have more than one number in the same place value, that one is false. So that is my answer because I'm looking for false. Okay. Question 3. I'm going to zoom that in so you have a better view. I'm going to do RIPS again. Again, I want you using that. I want you to take these questions apart. So I'm going to get used to using it again. While at the grocery store, Mitchell weighed 1 potato on the produce scale. The weight of the potato was 0.34 pounds, or 34 hundredths of a pound. Which of the following is equivalent to the weight of the potato? So which is equal? And why did I write equal? Because what does equivalent mean? It means equal. The important information is I have 0.34. Okay? And to solve this, I'm going to use place value. All right, so let's solve this. 0.34. What place value is that 3 in? It is in the tenths, and that 4 is in the hundredths. So 3 times a tenth. So is it 3 times 1? Is this 3 in the ones place? No. Is the 3 in the tens place? No. So I know those two are not correct. So 3 times a tenth, 3 times a tenth. So far, both of these are correct. And then 4, and what place value is that 4 in? Is in the hundredths, not the thousandths. So I can mark that one off, and my answer is B. And again, the fraction 1/10, that's tenths. So when you see it as a fraction like this, that's the THS. Okay? Here we go, question 4. Which numeral is equivalent to, well, I'm just going to solve this problem out. So this is a really easy RIPS, which is equal. Important information is the 2 times 10, 6 times a tenth, 5 times a thousandth. I'm going to use place value again to solve these. Okay, so here we go. 2 times 10, well, I know that that is 20. Okay, 2 times 10 is 20 bucks. I know that now that I see fractions here, that means my decimal had to happen. When I see fractions there, instead of whole numbers, that means I've passed the decimal. 6 times a tenth, that would be 6 in the tenths place. So this is ones, this is tens, and again, 2 tens is $20. The 6 is in the tenths, and then do I have anything over 100? So if I don't have anything over 100, I'm at 0 in the hundredths. Okay, and then I have a 5 in the thousandths. So what does that number look like? Well, do I have 26? Do I have a 26 anywhere? No, I have 2 times 10, and this 6 is in the on the other side of the decimal, so it's not 26. 206? No, 2 times 10 is not 200. So I have 20, and then they're trying to fool you with the 65. If this was 65, this 5 is in the hundredths, not the thousandths. So this one is not correct either. So my correct answer is J right there. And again, using your place value, writing all your place values on top of your numbers so that you have it correct. Question 5. A dog named Anastasia, whatever, set a record by popping 100 balloons in 44.49 seconds, or 44 and 49 hundredths seconds, which show the expanded notation for 44.49. So again, if I am doing my work and showing my work, I'm going to rip that. Which is the correct expanded notation? Important information is, do I care that she popped 100 balloons? First off, I don't know why a dog is popping balloons, but I don't care that she popped 100 balloons. So that becomes not important. What I care is that she did it in 44.49 seconds. Okay? And I'm going to use expanded notation, which is my place value, to solve this. All right, so let's look at this. I'm going to write the number, and I'm going to label it 44.49. What place value is this for? That is in the ones place. What place value is that for? That's in the tens. This 4 is in the tenths, and then we have hundredths. Okay, so I would have to do 4 times 10. So mark out any answers that doesn't have the 4 times 10. Okay, so I have a 40 times 10. Well, no, 40 times 10 would be too big. And that 40 times 10, that's too big. 4 times 10, 4 times 10. So these are both correct so far. Then I have 4 times the ones place. Well, 4 times 1, 4 times 1, those are correct. 4 times a tenth. Well, this is a tenth, so 4 times a tenth, yes. 4 times a tenth, yes. They're both correct there. And then 9 times a hundredth. Okay, right here, this is tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So that is 9 times a thousandth. That's not correct. This one is 9 times a hundredth. So my answer should be C there. So you're going to have to go through every digit to find those mistakes. Okay, last question that I'm going to help you with tonight. Again, it's the same thing you're doing on your independent and your assessment. You're using that place value. Gilbert bought a new phone. The price of the phone includes a 4 with the value of 4/10. Which of the following could be the price of his new phone? So the 4 is in the 4/10 place. So I know that if I use place value, so I'm going to rip it. What is the correct price? Important information is I have a 4/10 value. Okay, and to solve this, I'm going to use place value. So I am going to write my place value out. I know that my decimal is and. I know that this is my ones place, tens, hundreds. This is tenths. So I know that right here I have a 4 in this place value. So I'm going to go look through each of my answer choices and mark them out if they do not have a 4 right after the decimal in the tenths. Okay, well, I have my decimal right here. I have a 4 in the hundredths. This should be like this then. And that's not what it says. It says 4 over 10, so it needs to come over 1. So that can't be it. I have a 4 in the tenths place right next to the decimal, so that's true. That could be the price. Here I have a 5 in the tenths. I have a 4 in the hundredths, so that's not correct. And here I have a 4 in the hundreds, not tenth. So my answer for that is G. Okay? All right. So you're doing the same thing on your guided, your independent practice and your assessment, using the RIPS, using your place value. And then again, Ms. Webster will upload Unit 2 homework help tomorrow.